The Caribbean is currently looking more and more like a staging ground, with the USS Gerald Ford American warship and thousands of American troops circling Venezuela's coast. Washington calls it a narcotics mission, but the scale hints at something far bigger and more deadlier. We break down exactly how Venezuela stacks up against U.S. military power, a comparison so uneven it reads like two completely different worlds. On paper, Caracas certainly has the numbers, but in reality, years of economic collapse have drained its strength. Our next report has all the details.
Tensions between the US and Venezuela are rising, and the waters around Venezuela are beginning to look like a chessboard, one where almost every major piece belongs to the United States. For months, the US military has been striking similar-looking vessels in the Caribbean Sea and the Pacific Ocean. Washington calls it Operation Southern Spear. President Trump's mission sounds simple: crush narcotics trafficking. But the build-up suggests something far more dangerous. The arrival of the USS Gerald R. Ford, the largest aircraft carrier ever built, near Latin America, has electrified the region. And President Donald Trump has already been briefed on military options. Right now, there are nearly 15,000 American troops in the region, Marines on ships, thousands more at bases in Puerto Rico, 6 surface warships, 3 amphibious ships, 1 submarine, and that massive aircraft carrier, the crown jewel of American naval power. Across the water sits Venezuela, a country with pride, history, and a military built around old Soviet-era hardware. In the 2025 Global Firepower Index, Venezuela ranks 51st out of 145 countries. Decent, but nowhere close to the machine it would face, which sits right at the top. Venezuela has about 109,000 active duty troops, another 8,000 in reserve, over 220,000 in the National Guard. On paper, a sizable force. Its air force alone has 11,500 members and boasts Russian jets that stand out in the Caribbean. But the US? The US ranks 3rd worldwide in active personnel, backed by the largest defense budget on Earth, a colossal $895 billion. Venezuela's entire defense budget, just $4.1 billion. The difference is not a gap, it's a canyon. Look at air power. The United States has nearly 13,000 aircraft. Venezuela has just 229. What about fighter jets? US has more than 1,700. Venezuela, just 30. Helicopters? US stands at 5,800. And Venezuela is at only 88. And when you shift to the sea, the comparison only grows sharper. The United States has 11 aircraft carriers, floating cities of firepower. Venezuela has none. Its navy counts 1 frigate, a single symbol of blue water capability. Ironically, Venezuela does hold an edge in patrol vessels, useful for coastal defense. But in a full-scale war, it's like bringing a fishing net to a missile fight. The truth is harsh. Venezuela's equipment is aging. Many systems may not even be fully operational. Years of economic collapse, inflation, falling oil production, and crippling sanctions have hollowed out maintenance budgets. Nearly 8 million Venezuelans, many of them young military-age citizens, have left the country. A shrinking nation cannot sustain a growing war, and yet a conflict wouldn't be simple. Venezuela has Russian missiles capable of striking US ships. It has jets that could threaten American aircraft. And its militia, especially in dense cities, could bog down US forces, much like insurgents once did in Iraq and Afghanistan. So, what happens if the US attacks? The numbers speak for themselves, but one thing is guaranteed: it would be a costly campaign. And can Venezuela's ailing economy handle that? Will Trump, the man who calls himself the peace president, really pull the trigger? No one knows. For now, we just hold our breath for the next move on the chessboard.
I rose from the army with medals on my chest. I spoke of freedom from colonial chains, but I tightened my own. I filled prisons with ghosts. Nearly 500,000 people were butchered under my rule, and I trusted only my paranoia. I gave myself grand titles. I claimed to be Africa's strongman. History calls me something else, the dictator. Who am I?
পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি এখন আমার মনটা পুরে কয়লা হয়েছে জানি না রে কাহার প্রেমে মুগ্ধ রয়েছি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি কেউ পুরে প্রেম আগুনে কেউ বা তুষের আগুন প্রেম আগুনে মন পুরে যার চলে আরো দ্বিগুণ কেউ পুরে প্রেম আগুনে কেউ বা তুষের আগুন প্রেম আগুনে মন পুরে যার চলে আরো দ্বিগুণ কোন আগুনে পুরাইলি তুই করলি বেইমানি দেহ থুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থুইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি প্রেমের আগুন যার অন্তরে সেই জানে তার ব্যথা পাগল হইয়া পাগল বেশে কয় যে প্রেমের কথা প্রেমের আগুন যার অন্তরে সেই জানে তার ব্যথা পাগল হইয়া পাগল বেশে কয় যে প্রেমের কথা সেই অন্তরে আঘাত দিবি আগে বুঝিনি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি পাগলি রে তুই প্রেম শিখাইয়া পাগল বানাইলি দেহ থইয়া কেন রে তুই মনটা পোড়াইলি আহা